It's the Blues Rock Show with Pete Francis and Willie Witten.
Welcome to the Blues Rock Show. I'm Pete Francis, joined by Willie Witten. Today, our special guest is the frontman of the rock and roll band Ghost Hounds, Tre Nation. Tre, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you guys for having me. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so Ghost Hounds is a great up-and-coming band that people definitely need to check out. Now, we understand before you became a member of the band, you were thinking about becoming a physics professor. So how do you go from physics professor to frontman of rock and roll band?
Oh man, that's awesome. I love that you know that. That's really cool. So I've been singing since I was about 13, and I come from Texas, and it's not a big deal to be a musician in Texas. You know, it's like, of course you sing. Yeah, everyone does. So what else do you do? No. And so I have this strange fascination with particle physics. And when I thought of another career, I thought I can teach physics. Yeah, that's awesome. That's like, it's something I learned in my spare time, and I do extracurricularly. So yeah, physics. But music is always going to call. It's always going to be a part. Every artist is always going to be called by that art, no matter what other pursuits they have in their life. So that's me. Yeah.
Because you guys also have a pretty interesting story. The six of you are all coming from sort of different areas, it seems like.
Oh, yeah.
So how does that, it seems a little serendipitous, but how did you guys all link up, or do you just chalk it up to the luck of the universe?
I think it's quite literally magic. There's every interpersonal story in the band has its own little beautiful adventure. But me specifically, they were looking for a singer, and Johnny Bob just happened to come across an Instagram story, which you guys know Instagram stories last for 24 hours, and he happened to be looking in the right time at the right person's story, and I was there, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time, and it was something that couldn't be orchestrated. It was beautiful. Yeah.
So recently, the Rolling Stones have been in the news. Charlie Watts passed away. You guys had the opportunity to open up for the Rolling Stones. What are your memories from that?
I was taken aback at how personable and nice they are. Once we did our thing and we left the stage, there's a place where we wait for it to take pictures before the Stones go to the stage, and I just remember turning around and seeing Mick Jagger walk, and I said, "Hey," and he goes, "Hey," and that's gonna be ingrained in my brain forever. They were very nice, very personable, very supportive of us. They like our songs, and it's really great. That was the beginning of a very beautiful friendship, I believe, between us and them. Yeah.
And so the Rolling Stones, one of the premier rock and roll bands of all time, you guys also have a sound that's very modern, but it's got some of that old punch and old heart of what I guess I would call classic rock.
Thank you.
How big of the Rolling Stones of an influence are they to you guys?
I would say
some of your others.
I would say the Rolling Stones is definitely maybe our second biggest influence past Robert Johnson. As you guys may know, our name comes from the story of, the singer that sold his soul at the crossroads and had the hellhounds nipping at his feet, and I think that as a band, we've become increasingly inspired by that story. There's just so much to pick apart from it. It's just the mystery and the darkness of it, but also just the love of music and how it can transform your life. And yeah.
Another band I know you guys had the opportunity to kind of share a stage with was ZZ Top. What do you remember from that experience?
Oh man, that was like band camp. It was really awesome. Billy really took a liking to us. Great reverend. He would spend some time with us before the shows. He would come in his pajamas and just hang out with us and go over some guitar riffs and just laugh and joke. And he and Thomas actually became really great friends. They exchanged guitar gifts and books and jokes. It was great, and that also was the beginning of a beautiful friendship for us. Yeah.
And with these two bands, and I'm going to put you on the spot, and it's not fair, but hey, you signed up for it. Give me top 3 Rolling Stones songs, top 3 ZZ Top songs. I know it's not fair, but it's too late now, Trey.
It is too late now, huh? Well, I was actually introduced to a version of Simply for the Devil that I hadn't heard before, and we actually cover it, and it's become one of my favorite songs. And Beast of Burden, of course, is always going to be a great Rolling Stones. It's like, for me, from my generation, Beast of Burden is the Rolling Stones song. You know, it's I don't know, there's so many to choose from. Let's circle back to that question. I think that
So
Well, you guys have a new album coming out September 3rd, A Little Calamity. Where does that title come from?
it's one of the songs is titled A Little Calamity, and it's kind of indicative of the tone of the entire album. There's what I love about this album is that there's a playfulness to it, but there's also a sentiment that we haven't really touched on as a band before. And so it's a very well-rounded album. There's a little bit of political opinion there. There's some spirituality. There's the roughness. There's tenderness. And so I think that A Little Calamity is just kind of the perfect word to describe what's going on inside this little box that's, you know, our world.
I noticed on the album something that I thought was interesting was that you guys did a cover of Thunder Road.
Yes.
And that's a cover, for those who know the original, your guys' version sounds very unique. It's very different.
Thank you.
And you're right, that is a good thing. It's very cool.
Yeah.
But why that song? Of all the Bruce Springsteen songs, and I'm assuming he's a bit of an influence for you guys too, why that song? Because he's got a bunch to choose from.
The inspiration to cover that song actually came, I don't remember the name of the artist, but there was Bruce Springsteen performed the song a couple decades ago with a woman, and it was an acoustic performance, and it was just beautiful. It was unlike any other performance that we'd seen, and it really inspired Thomason. So he wanted to, you know, try to put something together. And so we got into the studio and we just started playing, and we came up with this arrangement that we were very proud of. And it turned out to be, something that we can really confidently hang our hats on.
One of the singles you guys already released is Good Old Days. Tell us about that track.
Good Old Days. So Good Old Days actually was written before the pandemic, but it's become, you know, kind of our theme song for how we feel post-pandemic. You know, there was a span of time where we didn't know if we'd ever kind of like be in the same room and play music together. And so over the course of just being separated from normal, what we know as normal life, it gave us all the opportunity to kind of go over what we'd taken for granted before. And I think that other musicians can concur, you know, that now that everything's semi back to normal, there's this renewed gratitude that we have for life. And I think that Good Old Days is a great way of reminding you that, yeah, this moment right now is really all you have. And so it fits you well to just enjoy as much as you can, you know? Yeah.
One of the songs that I believe it's Between Me and the Devil, is that right? You guys did a music video for that.
Yes, sir.
And first of all, wonderful music video. I thought it was a lot of fun. Once again, it goes back to the Robert Johnson ethos and the idea of being at the crossroads. But I have a specific question. I've always wanted to ask this.
Yes.
When there's the snake in the music video, are you just scared to death, or are you pretty comfortable? Is there a handler that takes care of this? It's a question I've always wanted to ask.
There was a handler. The snake actually belonged to the handler, and he was very nice. I only touched the snake once. I usually, for the most part, I kept at least a 6 foot distance. But it was a very friendly snake. He was very curious. He's very shy. He wanted to get away from the light. So a lot of the takes we have, he's actually trying to escape under the desk, you know. But yeah, it was very fun. It was that was a very interesting day. It was a wonderful, wonderful day of shooting.
So you guys did the whole thing in one day.
No, we didn't. That one day where we had the snake,
Okay.
that shoot lasted for a while. You know,
Yeah.
animals. You know, but yeah, it was very fun. It was such a great experience. I can't wait to do it again. It's awesome. Hopefully,
So the new album comes out September 3rd. What's next for you guys?
Hopefully, shows. We have some shows that we're looking to do in the fall and in the winter, and hopefully everything keeps getting better in the world and we're able to do those and really connect with people and, you know, show off our music with some of our friends, you know. So we're looking forward to being able to do that.
Will you also be starting work on writing some new material for a third effort?
Oh, it's already begun. Oh,
So
yes.
when you guys write, how do you do it? Do you guys write sort of as a group, or will one person come out with some lyrics and someone will add like a keys part? How does it go with you guys? Do you write on the road?
Most of the time, so Thomas writes all of the songs. All of these songs are his brain babies, and most of the time he'll collect in conversation and just his normal day life. He'll have ideas and he'll write down, you know, a phrase or a word or a title of a song, and then he'll just leave it and then come back to it. Or he and Johnny will be playing together and they'll come up with a riff and they'll just play it over and over, and then we'll come to the studio and they'll play the riff and just allow it to go and form how it wants to at first. We record all of our rehearsals, so we'll go back and listen to it, and I'll do some vocalization over it, and then Thomas will take my voice and say, okay, I think these lyrics will go great with that. You know, how do you feel about that? And then he and Kevin Bowe, who also writes with us, they'll get together, they'll kind of form it into some kind of format, and then they'll bring it, you know, to the next rehearsal. And then I'll take it then and do some vocal production. You know, this maybe should sound this way, maybe it'll be nice that way. And it's a really beautiful collaborative effort, which it wasn't on the first album. The first album was a bit curated because of all the big names on it. We had a lot to prove, you know. But on this album, we really collaborated in a new way, and I think it shows in the feel of the music. It's very us. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
Tre,
it definitely sounds great. Tre, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
No, thank you guys so much for having us, having me. The album's on September 3rd, and I hope everyone loves it and enjoys it.
All right, A Little Calamity out September 3rd. That's Tre Nation from Ghost Hounds, and that's going to wrap up this week's edition of the Blues Rock Show. For Tre Nation and Willie Witten, I'm Pete Francis. We'll see you next time.